The Upshot's coverage of the USDGC and Throw Pink Women's Disc Golf Championship is brought to you by Skybreed Discs. Go to skybreeddiscs.com for all your disc golf needs. Free shipping on orders over $50. Cheap flat rate shipping on orders under that point. They have a huge selection of discs and apparel and accessories. It's just a one-stop shop for all things disc golf. skybreeddiscs.com. Welcome to a live edition of the Upshot podcast. It is Friday night, October 8th. Round 3 of the USDGC and Throw Pink Women's Disc Golf Championships is in the books. And it was moving day, and there was some moving, Josh. There was a little bit of moving going on today. And really excited to talk about today's rounds. Let's just start right off the bat. Let me hit you with the leaderboard. Starting in the Throw Pink Women's Disc Golf Championship they played this morning, Missy Gannon is out in front. She's at 2 under par. She has taken the lead. We're going to talk more about how that happened. Haley King and Valerie Mondahano are tied in second place, 1 stroke back at 1 under par. Owen Scoggins in 4th at even par. That is your lead card. Down on the chase card, Macy Vela Diaz 1 over, so she's 3 strokes back. Kona Panis
had a 5 under round today.
Beautiful round. Spectacular. Just 1 bogey. Yeah. Kona Panis and Deanne Carey are tied in 6th place at 3 over, so they are 5 shots back. So that means there's 7 players within 5 shots of the lead. We're going to talk about Paige Pierce in a moment. She was a 5-shot leader heading into today. We're going to get to that. Quickly, before we do, USDGC leaderboard. Well, it's Mr. McBeast. Going McBeast out on the course, shooting an 11 under hot round today. Josh wins the over-under with that double-digit score. 0 OBs, 0 bogeys. So for yet another day, a bogey-free round wins it in terms of the hot round. So McBeth...
Gotta quit betting against the pros.
Oh, God, every time I think someone's not going to shoot double digits, they shoot double digits. But what's crazy is that no one else really even came close. Kyle Klein and Paul Ulibarri had great rounds, and they were second best on the day at 7 under. Okay? Yeah. So this was just like some McBeth magic, including on 18 when he was miraculously saved by an OB stake. And then in the interview after the round, tried to act like his shot was going to come back in bounce. Like, no,
he's like, no, I threw the cut. I wanted some cut on it intentionally.
He was cutting up to the parking lot. So McBeth is a 1-stroke lead over Chris Dickerson, who entered the day as the leader. Chris Dickerson 1 shot back in 2nd place. Drew Gibson is in 3rd place at 18 under par, and that's despite taking a pair of back-to-back double bogeys. We're going to talk about that. Martin Hendel rounds it out on the lead card. He's at 17 under par, 5 shots back. He's tied with Ricky Wysocki, who had the worst round today, so he will be on the chase card. Then at 6th place, you've got Kyle Klein, Nate Sexton, and Joel Freeman all tied at 16 under par. They are 6 strokes back of McBeth. So that is the shape of the landscape. And now let us return to the topic. Paige Pierce. She had a 5-stroke lead heading into today. That lead was gone by, I think, hole number 3. Maybe hole number 4.
Yep.
And Paige Pierce proceeded to shoot one of the worst rounds you will ever see from a professional disc golfer of her caliber. It is easily the worst round I've ever seen her shoot, period. It was an 18 over par. Okay, this is coming from someone who shot a 7 under, 10-27 rated 7 under in round 1. She shot 25 strokes worse in today's round. She is now at 11 over par in the tournament, and she's basically, I mean, it's not basically, she is out of it. She's out.
Yes.
She can no longer win the tournament. It is over.
That is correct.
Josh, you saw it play out. What did we just witness today?
You said this is the worst round you'll see from a professional of her caliber. It's the worst round you'll see from just about any professional of any caliber who is on tour, right? Like this is a level of bad that I have never seen from Paige. Not even close. She had a triple bogey on hole 1, and already, I mean, that's going to be a rough start. But she proceeded then to take 2, not 1, 2 quadruple bogeys on hole 10, taking an 8, and on hole 18, taking a 9. And by the end, like, it looked like she didn't have control of her discs. Like, she would, it would come out of her hand, and then wherever it went was anybody's game on half the holes. And she could not stop mistakes. She could not stop them. It was one birdie on the day.
It was stunning.
I think you have to go down all the way to, let's find the next solo birdie. Paige Shue in 30th place to find another solo birdie round.
It's
who shot 15 over par.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it really is.
So I liken what we saw today to a Major League Baseball pitcher who has lost command of their fastball after already not having command of their slider or their changeup or their two-seam. Like, They can't throw the ball where they want. They're missing the strike zone every time. The only way they find the strike zone is by sheer luck, and it goes right down the middle and gets crushed. And you're like, what do? You take them out of the game, right? It's like, they don't have command. They're going to hurt somebody. Like, you could have the umpire be like, we got to stop. You're not safe to continue pitching. That actually happened a couple weeks ago. They kicked somebody out of the game because they were too wild. This was like that. And it started... what I can't understand is, like, she had a bad start. She overcranked the first tee shot on 1, right? It's a straightforward, straight up the gut shot. Not easy necessarily. There's a low ceiling. There's a log that kind of stops you. But, I mean, it's a pretty straightforward 3. Like, even if you make a bad shot, unless you miss the Mando, you're going to get a 3. All you got to do is get through the Mando. And, some players are going to get the birdie if they throw a nice shot. Others, they're going to hit the trees on the left. They're going to hit the log. They're going to take a 3 because it's an easy pitch up. But Paige misses the Mando, and then she misses the Mando again with an early release, and then she throws a perfect shot. But then she misses... Oh, no, she makes the putt. She makes a putt on 1. And you're like, okay.
Yeah. Yep.
She settled down. It's obviously terrible to open up your round with a couple of OB strokes, but you're like, all right, she's going to be fine. She's going to be fine. And she goes to hole 2, and, it wasn't perfect. Her drive, I can't remember if it was her first shot or second shot that let her down a little bit, but she wasn't really in position to birdie. But a fine par. It was a fine, yeah. She takes a par, and you're like, okay.
That hole's fine, yeah.
And then she throws one of the worst shots we've seen literally all weekend on hole 3. I mean, she threw it into a place where you're like, how did she throw it over there? Like, it was so far left. It was like by the thing. Like the weird, I don't even really know what to call it. Like the fence, like the
thing that Greg Barsby threw in yesterday.
Oh, did he? I actually didn't see that.
Yeah, he threw a forehand and it went in it, and he just like had to like step back, take the line straight back, and then just like pitch around. It was weird. Anyway,
but this, So she throws that shot,
but it was a backhand for her.
Right. He threw a forehand, so she throws a backhand and is just like way left, and then proceeds to play it the rest of the hole horribly. Misses the putt after a bad approach shot, and takes a double bogey. And then she sort of salvages a couple pars, and then gets the birdie on 6, and it's like, okay, she's settling down. But really, it was fool's gold. There was never a point in this round where she looked comfortable, where she looked any kind of confident. I have never seen... She airballed like 10 putts. Like, not even close. And we're talking from like 25 feet. This was complete collapse. I don't know what's going on. I honestly, like, it feels like there's some catalyst to this. How do you go from shooting one of the best rounds at Winthrop by an FPO player ever and then turn around and do this? And when you're someone as good as Paige Pierce, it truly is inexplicable. Help me understand.
She had 14 OB strokes, Charlie.
And it didn't really look like she was giving up.
No, it didn't. It did that. I agree with that. Like, she looked like she still was trying to stay in it. And because we've seen when players give up. Remember Chris Dickerson on hole 18 of Green Mountain Championship? That might have been Worlds, actually, back in 2018, when like he throws his first shot and it goes out of bounds. And so he just proceeds to just like let discs fly and has a couple more go out of bounds.
McBeth did it just a couple months ago. I think, was it Idlewild? It was one of those Midwest tournaments, and I don't remember which one. But he was just like stepping up and just throwing his disc, like not even trying to think about it. You're like, okay, he's just quit on the round. But this didn't feel like that.
3 OB strokes on hole 18. Like, I don't know, and don't get me wrong, like, nobody played hole 18 well today. I think conditions were very tough. Okay, that's not true. Owen Scoggins, Macy Valadiaz, Natalie Ryan, and then a couple farther down the leaderboard who got some birdies on it. But I mean, a lot of big numbers on this hole. But Paige, 3 OB strokes right there. And here's what's crazy, Charlie. Her putting was not good today, like by any means. Some of those strokes, she hit 2 circle 2 putts from 38 feet, and then after going OB on holes 11 and 12, had to hit 27-foot putts in order to save bogey and par. This easily could have been even higher.
It was just shocking. It was shocking to watch. Like, you have to go pretty deep down this leaderboard to find scorecards that were uglier than that. And
Tiger Borth in 34th.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't. I mean, yes, like, okay, Winthrop, right? There's some element of it's just a brutally challenging course, but I don't think we've seen I've never seen a player totally lose command the way she lost command. She could never re-find it. And it felt, somebody mentioned in the Discord that it looked like she was just on an island. Like, she wasn't really talking to the other competitors. She was just kind of in her own really bad zone. And it's hard to watch. I mean, it's hard to watch her, go OB off the tee or like into the hazard.
Yeah.
And then step into the hazard and just like totally blow a 200-foot approach shot. And I don't really understand. And I have to say, she's obviously had a sort of a strange year. Remember when she played her best? When did she play her best, Josh? When did she play her best this season?
When she came back from Hawaii.
When she came back from Hawaii. She got away, she reset mentally, and then she played incredible disc golf for like 6 weeks. And then Worlds happened, which obviously there was nothing like this round, but it was similar in that she couldn't close rounds. She was like not quite herself. It was like kind of out of sync. And then you saw the nerves on 18, and she couldn't play 18 strong all week. The same thing has happened here. She struggled on 18 even before today. And then like it just seems like the mentality hasn't been there. But what's so weird is it's like it'd be one thing if she's been playing bad the whole tournament, but she shot this amazing round in round 1. I honest to God, I've never seen anything like it. And I mean, I haven't been watching disc golf that long, but like, I don't think a lot of people have seen something like this. And it's not like it was a hole 17 implosion or something like typical. Oh, like threw in the water 3 times in a row. Oh God. Owen Scoggins took a 10. No, like this was like complete and utter inability to putt, throw the disc where you want, command the disc off the tee. Just, it was like watching someone who'd never played disc golf try to play.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
And here's the big thing. A round this bad is one that I think will haunt Paige forever. And when I say that, I don't just mean like, oh, remember the time that could have been that I could have been back-to-back Throw Pink Women's Championship. I mean, from now on, I don't care what kind of a lead Paige has. You have to ask, what is the blow-up potential? Because to have one of this epic proportions, and we've seen other blow-ups. We've seen Paige give away wins before. Not like to this level. But this round has to, like, I don't know how you as a competitor, and maybe it's just because I don't play at this level. Maybe it's just because I'm not capable of doing this. But I don't know how you're able to perfectly get this out of your head, and when the pressure is on, not have 18 over par like flash in your head in pressure situations. Like this is going to be, I think, a round that could very possibly change. And I want to be careful when I say change the trajectory of Paige's career. Not saying Paige isn't going to win anymore. Not saying that Paige isn't going to continue to be the best FPO player. But that there will be tournaments in the future, and whether she admits it or not, in podcasts or interviews, that this will haunt her, and she's going to lose close tournaments because of it.
I mean,
I don't know how you can't.
It's hard to shake something like that for sure. I mean, I think when you talk about changing trajectory, I think it speaks to me, given what we've seen this year, given the increase, think about all the stuff that's been going on, right? She's got the huge contract. She's got all these sponsors. There's more media attention than ever. She's famous. Like, she probably gets recognized on the street sometimes. And there's all this external stuff creating pressure. And maybe that's what we saw today. I don't know. Maybe something else is going on. Maybe she's got an injury that we don't know about, right? Remember when Paul had the horrible round at USDGC that he had his ankle was hurt.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It could be something like that. But what it looked like was an early mistake that compounded into a complete collapse in confidence. It was a mental failure. It's not a physical failure. And I think what this says to me is that, with all of this increased pressure, it's probably time for another Hawaii vacation, or speaking to a professional about like being, working on mental toughness. Yeah. And it's crazy because it's not really something that she's had to deal with much. She's just been winning so much. And scrutiny is higher. If another player had this kind of blow-up round, we'd probably talk about it, but not for 15 minutes at the start of the episode. But there's just no way around the fact that it was like stunning to watch someone who's so good and has played so well literally 2 days ago completely have no ability to throw the disc. And it's the kind of thing, like with baseball pitchers, it happens. You just don't have it one day, and then you come out the next time and you play great. I won't be shocked if she comes out tomorrow and plays great. There's not going to be any pressure. Mm-hmm. The pressure's gone. It's like, well, you go to bed tonight, you're like, well, that sucked. And, she could come out and shoot a really good round again tomorrow. But I think you have to at least, if it's me in this situation, and I was as skilled as Paige is at something, some sport or whatever, and I had a collapse of that magnitude, I would have to be asking myself, how do I not have this happen again? Because it appeared, again, I don't know, but it appeared to be a confidence thing, a mental thing, not some externally, like her arm was hurt or whatever, because every aspect of her game completely fell apart. She couldn't putt, she couldn't throw, she couldn't tee off. It was just completely gone. And it's crazy because I've just never seen anything like it. Not in disc golf. Not to this level. This is her lowest rated round since July 2010. And I think it's fair to say that it's the worst round of her career, given the context of where we are to, this is not a major.
Yes.
Right? This is not a major. It feels like a major.
It feels like a major. It does
feel like a major.
Right.
And I don't think we want to be like, oh, well, it's just an A tier. Because that doesn't feel true. That doesn't feel like the situation. And so how by the numbers, it's one of her worst rounds ever, just by the pure numbers. Yes. But I think given the context, it's got to be her worst round ever as a professional. And it's one of the worst rounds ever in the history of disc golf at a professional level, from any professional, MPO or FPO, given the context. She had a 5-stroke lead. Now she's behind by 11 strokes. It's crazy to think about.
And I will say, like, the one thing I do want to point out is one of the big things that sets this context is how good Paige is.
Of course.
Right. So don't take it as the sense of, Paige has, statistically speaking, shot the worst round ever of any professional FPO, right? It may rival some of them, but the problem is that Paige is a titan and is a massive competitor in this sport because of just how great her skill set is. And so the fall was so much harder. Charlie, one thing I talked about when I first started on the show is I am a big fan of a variety of sports, and that includes esports. I know of esports teams who hire mental fortitude coaches. They literally have one that is permanent staff. You have your analyst who reviews VODs and preps you for upcoming matches. You have your coach who makes in-game decisions. And then you have a mental toughness coach that during timeouts will speak, will pull them aside in between matches, who will travel with the team and just talk to them about mental fortitude and overcoming mental adversity. That may very well be something Paige needs.
This is a game that requires incredible amounts of guts and the ability to bounce back from mistakes that are only your own. It's not like team sports where you can get subbed out.
Yep.
Where when you don't have command of your fastball, they put someone else in and you say, man, that sucked, but my team's got my back. No, you're on your own out there.
Right.
And that's hard.
Yes.
That's hard.
Uh-huh.
We all know the feeling of having a round like this where it's just not going right. Nothing's going right. It happens. It's hard. It's frustrating. You get upset. She looked like she was shell-shocked half the round. Like she couldn't believe what was happening. Or she didn't show anger really. It was just like disbelief. Because how do you do something so well and then suddenly feel like you can't do it? That's what makes it so crazy. And so I think that, mental fortitude training, if we want to call it that, is going to become a regular part of disc golf. I mean, it's a part of many sports, not just esports.
And that's true. Oh, no, absolutely.
Not everybody just has that naturally. Some do, right? Some have killer.
Yes.
People have killer instinct, right? LeBron James probably doesn't need to talk to a mental strength coach, but maybe he does. Right. Sometimes you don't even know. Like Kobe Bryant. Like that dude was just an insane person, right? He was just a killer. He did not care. He could erase mistakes from his mind. He could go out, he could miss a game winner, and he could hit the next one. Yep. And the thing is in golf, right, you don't have anywhere to fall back to. Sure, you can blame the disc, you can blame the weather, you can blame the this, you can blame the that. Conditions weren't great today, but we also had 10 FPO players, speaking of over-under, 10 FPO players shot under par today. By far the most of any round this week. We set the line at 3.5. And it was 10. So it's not like it was impossible to score. Even though it was kind of raining. It wasn't very windy.
We had the second best round next to Paige's 7 under. Macy Valadiaz with a 5 under par.
A couple notes from the chat. Paul says, the quote from Bobby Jones, golf is a game of inches. The most important are the 6 inches between your ears. That's a fact. And that's what we saw today, I think. And Sue says she was shocked, but wishes that Paige Pierce would put a zone in her bag for days like these when her timing is off. I think that this is like becoming it's getting to the point where like someone needs to be like, Paige, just please try it. Like take this overstable disc and you can hammer on it and it's not going to flip over, right? If you're a little out of sync, if you don't have the touchiness that you need, you don't have to throw the fierce, which is going to do weird things. You can just hammer on the zone, and it's going to come back. I completely agree with Sue.
Well, and even, I know Paige has been throwing her new driver a lot, the Passion, which is a lightweight, like 8.5 -1.1 or 9.5 -1.1, right? So it's a lightweight neutral driver. Like I think this is a great take from Sue. I completely agree with this take because I think we all do that. We all have our disc that is a reliable, knows it'll go left, things are going wrong. You take it out, you throw it 200 feet. I don't care if it's a 1,500 foot hole. You throw it 200 feet and you chip your way up the fairway until you get to the basket because otherwise it's going in the trees. Like we all do that. And I agree. I think it's definitely a good take.
Abachkad says that the story on LeBron early on was that he shrunk in big moments, which is true. I mean, remember, there was a lot of pressure put on him, and he was a rookie taking the team to the playoffs, and you know, he didn't have that early on. Everyone is capable of that, and everyone is capable of changing it, I think, says Abachkad. That's true. It's
Agreed.
a skill. It's a skill just like a skill to throw a backhand. You don't just... Some people just have it, I think. The same way that some people can throw a disc 450, 550 feet, and others cannot. But not everybody's going to have those skills, and you can develop them with practice and intentional focus. So anyway, I mean, I don't want to dwell on this the entire episode, but it was just a stunning thing to watch.
Yep. That's...
It's
really
just
was.
colors. I maybe some, you know, what if Christian Tatar was here? I feel like she'd be up by 10 strokes right now. No disrespect to the other competitors, but like Paige was out in front. She could have been up by 10 strokes heading into today. It was 5 because of a mistake on 18, and you almost wonder, like, did some of the late mistakes in yesterday's round carry over into today when she missed on, you know, double OB, Mando misses on 1, and that just somehow made everything impossible today. Just wasn't there. So, unbelievable. The Upshot is presented by Pound Disc Golf, makers of the best bags in the sport. From 3D modeling to technical materials, Pound utilizes current technology to push product development beyond the current boundaries. But fancy software and high-tech materials mean nothing if you're not part of the actual building and testing of the bags. From the initial sketch to pattern sets, Pound cuts the materials and sews the prototypes together, ensuring that design and materials come together to achieve their ultimate goal, performing for players under all conditions. Check out the options at pounddiscgolf.com. Touring disc golf professionals understand the need to stay focused on their game plan during rounds. When they're focused, they're confident. And when they're confident, performance peaks. This is why so many touring pros wear Diameter apparel. Simply put, Diameter apparel is really, really comfortable, allowing players to stay focused on their game. Diameter apparel also happens to look amazing. Order online or find currently released designs at your local disc golf store. TDs and event coordinators are talking about how popular custom event and trophy jerseys are. Breathable, durable, beautiful, Diameter apparel. Let's talk about some more happy things. As we go up to the top of the leaderboard, you know, Missy Gannon shoots a 4-under, fantastic round, just one stroke back of the hot round from Macy Vela-Diaz, and she just had one bogey. She did not go out of bounds, and I mean, every time you talk to pros, they tell you, at Winthrop, it's all about keeping it between the lines. You can't go OB. And seriously, it's true. The players who don't go OB are the ones that were putting up the best rounds every single time.
Yep.
That's what makes Drew Gibson's round yesterday so insane. For him to shoot a 9-under with 6 OBs. But
so today he shot 6 under. Guess how many OBs he had today?
8.
No, he had 6 again.
He had 6 again.
He had 6 again and didn't hit a single circle 2 putt.
Wow.
And the guy's still in third.
I mean, he
anyways, sorry,
he was actually playing really well. I mean, he had an incredible start.
Yeah.
But he took a back-to-back double bogeys. It kind of cooled him off, but he's still right in the hunt. Going to be super fun to watch him play tomorrow. But let's stay on FPO. Like Missy Gannon just
back to FPO.
Getting the job done out there.
Yes.
Takes the 1 bogey on hole 8, but super steady. And like, I feel like she kind of snuck up on me because other players we were talking about Valerie Mondahano, and then it was like Haley King trying to make a push. But Missy Gannon just stuck around, did not make mistakes in the back 9. Other players were taking bogeys, and ends up at the end of the day with a 1-stroke lead.
And that's the big thing is Missy Gannon was, I think, far enough back that through, I would say, 9, 10 holes, right? You had several other players who were playing as well as her, and so she still was back a little ways. Missy Gannon didn't move up because she shot super hot in the back 9. She moved up, like you said, because others fell off the pace because they were making the mistakes and she wasn't. So I think it's natural that she then is able to slide under the radar like that. I think it's noteworthy, though, when you look at the top 4, who's going to be on our lead card tomorrow, Missy Gannon, Valerie Mondahano, Owen Scoggins, those 3, I feel like are consistent. I don't know, like Valerie, but Owen Scoggins and Missy Gannon are the precise, between the lines, putting well. Like that's what we were expecting out of those players, and that's why we thought they would play well at Winthrop, and we were right. I actually think Valerie Mondahano is more like Haley King than she is like Missy Gannon.
A little more fluctuating in the...
Yeah, a little more fluctuating. Has a good, real strong forehand, backhand. It can throw. I think she can throw pretty far. It's hard to always tell sometimes on camera, especially.
Plenty far for Winthrop.
What is it? Yeah, plenty far for Winthrop, exactly. So I think Valerie Mondahano and Haley King have the more fluctuating rounds and fluctuating inside rounds.
Who do you like then for tomorrow?
It is so close. I hate to do this to her. I don't think Missy Gannon's going to win. You need one good round. One good round from Haley or Valerie. One hot round that is, Valerie going... Even if she doesn't take the double bogey on 18,
she's got the lead,
right?
Yeah,
she's got the lead, right? Like all it takes is Valerie and Haley to have, or Haley. I think it's one of those two. I think it is Valerie or Haley who are going to shoot a hot round tomorrow, probably in the 5 under range, and takes the win.
It feels to me like Mondahano's going to get the dub.
Ooh, okay.
I mean, I don't think that's necessarily going to be the Vegas favorite. She's been the most consistently solid player this week.
Yeah.
She's gotten more birdies. I think she had more birdies than the rest of the players on the lead card. Yeah. She had 7 birdies today. Gannon had 5. Haley had 5. Scoggins had 4. And really it comes down to the mistakes that she made down the stretch because in the last 6 holes, she went 3 over par. And that really was the difference between her having a 2-3 stroke lead and end up being, a stroke back. But I really feel like she's the favorite given what we've seen from her so far this week. But it's all about being able to clean it up. You got to do what Paul McBeth did today. You got to clean it up.
I've got 2 stats I'm going to hit you with. First stat. Valerie Mondahano leads the tournament in strokes gained tee to green.
It sounds right.
Almost 18. Yep. Second place, Jessica Weiss, who's down in 11th at just under 16. In the top 5, Valerie has it by more than 3 strokes over everyone else. Second stat, she has 37% birdie rate. Second place, Haley King, 31%. Third, Missy Gannon, 30%. So she's got 6 strokes on Haley King or 6 percentage points. But like you talked about, she's got more mistakes. Her circle 1 putting is not as clean. She has 14 OB strokes with Haley King also having 14. So, it's, you definitely, like you said, she has the scoring potential. If she cleans it up, I think Valerie is an excellent pick.
You mentioned Owen Scoggins and Missy Gannon keeping it between the lines. They're literally the 2 players with the fewest OB strokes in the field. Gannon has 8. Gannon has 9.
Missed one.
Did I? Oh,
hold on.
No,
Sorry.
I'm in all rounds.
No, you're good.
I'm in all rounds.
Yep. You're right. I was not in all rounds.
Yep.
That was my bad.
So there you go. And
Yeah.
slow and steady, right? What do we talk about? Owen Scoggins setting the pace. She's literally sitting at even par, setting the freaking pace. Okay? And she might win the tournament if other players falter. Not that she's not really good. She's awesome. She's been playing. I can't remember, she shot a 10. And yet she is in 4th place and on the lead card in the final round. Incredible. Outside of that, do you see anybody having a shot from the chase card?
I'm going to hot take here. I think anybody who is within 5 over par has a chance to win this tournament.
So you're going to include Kat Murch, Sarah Hokum, and Heather Young, who are at 5 over.
Yes, I absolutely will. If Paige can drop 18 strokes today, Missy Gannon can drop 5 strokes, right? Like Missy Gannon could go out tomorrow and she could shoot a 5 over par, and Sarah Hokum could shoot a 4 under par. And that's enough. That's all. The 3 under par, a 3 under par and a 5 over par, or 4 and 4. That's enough to win it. It is close enough, and enough players. And now here's the only reason I'm hesitant to make that argument is because we saw so many players under par today. 10 women shot under par. If it had been the 3 or 4 number again, I would have been very confident in saying that this top 8 is just a grab bag, stick your hand in, pull one out, and they could.
But it's just so easy to blow up on 17 and 18. I mean, it's just any player can drop 5, 6 strokes right there. It literally happened today to multiple players. I basically agree. So, I mean, I think it's going to be tough, right? The players in the top 5 all shot under par today.
Yes.
And so can you really expect all 5 of them to blow it and have that be enough for somebody, to catch a 6 under round or something sitting at 5 over and win at 1 under? I mean, it's possible. It's definitely possible.
So I'm going to hit you with a stat. Round 1, Valerie Mondahanu was the only one of those 5 to shoot under par.
And that's what I'm saying. She's been there all week.
Yeah.
She would have been in the lead if she hadn't messed up in the final 6 holes today.
Mm-hmm. But the point I'm making there is that any of them could go back to shooting over par.
Sure.
She in round 2, Valerie Mondahanu of the shot over par. So none of them have 3 rounds that are under par.
It's all going to be very exciting to see how it unfolds, especially with Paige Pierce out of the mix.
Yeah.
Completely out of the mix. Wow. What a day.
If I had told you at the beginning of the week that Katrina Allen and Paige Pierce would have 0 chance going into final round of winning.
0 chance. Oh my gosh. I would have put money on that, Josh. I would have said there's no way that's true.
Yeah.
What a win this would be for Mondahanu. Man. Exciting to see. It's going to be very exciting to see how it unfolds tomorrow. How many people are going to buy that pay-per-view that haven't bought it yet? Who is going to be like, fine, I'll pay because I want to watch the end of FPO, which is going to be incredibly exciting. And how about in MPO, your top 3, McBeth, Dickerson, Gibson, all within 4 strokes. Ricky Wysocki, 1 stroke back of that. Kyle Klein, Nate Sexton in the mix. Simon Lizotte in the mix. Like, there will be people who pay. After
in the chat
losing the value after 3 days where you could have been watching, someone's going to step up. And already a couple people in the chat saying they bought after day 1. And has it been worth it, folks? Do you feel like this money well spent? I'm curious to know. I do think this stream has been quite good from what I've seen. So it all unfolds at Winthrop Arena starting at 9:30 a.m. tomorrow. Let's talk USDGC. McBeth, 11 under. He does not go out of bounds. He finds a green in regulation on 17 out of 18 holes. This is insane stuff. And before we talk more about it, let's hear from McBeth. I talked to him right after the round today. Here's Paul McBeth. If you're listening on mobile, you'll have to switch to the desktop if you want to hear, if you're listening live. Here is McBeth after today's round.
So you had moments both in round 1 and round 2 where things were looking really good. You had long strings of birdies, but then also caught a couple of mistakes. What was different about today's round that made this one the special one?
100% putting confidence. I felt like I finally figured something out in the putting green, and really simple, just a little saying to myself. So, I mean, the fewer words, the better. So just having a 2-word little saying gets me in that rhythm, gets me in that routine, which is what I've been lacking. So I think that really helped putting confidence. And when you have the putting confidence, it really, really helps the drive. It takes a lot of pressure off the tee shots and stuff like that, especially with all the ropes out here. So that was the big difference from rounds 1 and 2 to 3.
What was the phrase?
I don't want to say that.
Okay. So, I mean, you found every green in regulation except one today. Is that coming from the confidence? Because you feel like you can make it from circle 2?
That definitely helped, especially on the upshots. Like 13, for example, yesterday had a little slip off the back foot and left a little short. So today I was kind of like, all right, just blow it past the basket, try to throw it in, and then you'll be past it, you'll be safe. There's nothing but green land over there on the other side of the basket. So knowing that I felt confident on the comeback, no matter how far it was. Same thing with 17, just blast it past the basket, give it a little run. I kind of just carried that into all the other holes. And yeah, I didn't realize it was that many opportunities. So I was happy to, I'm glad I could take advantage of a lot of them.
Are you surprised to shoot as well as you did given today's conditions?
No, I just think today I felt good, regardless what the conditions were. I just kind of felt like, it's rain. It wasn't rain and windy. I think maybe 1 or 2 holes. So, as long as there's only one element, I feel like it's pretty solid for me to play in. It could be dumping as much as it wants, but as long as it's just rain, it's not rain and wind, I feel pretty confident.
You've been out here many times. You've won here. What is it going to take tomorrow to hold off a pack of people? Obviously, you've got a couple stroke lead here, but there's a lot of people. We've seen a lot of swings this whole week.
I mean, the easiest answer is the hot round. If you're the leader and you shoot the hot round, you're winning. So that's my mindset going into it. And, I know if I have to, I can adapt. But, having the hot round and I win the tournament.
What would it mean to win this one again?
I mean, it gives me chills, just you saying that, because, what happened at Worlds and how the year's been, it hasn't been up to my standards, but it's still been a great year. To cap it off with the second at Worlds and a win here would be huge, and to be, only one person ahead of me on how many U.S. titles there are, and then being, having what a lot of majors. I don't know off the top of my head, maybe 16. I don't know.
Literally doesn't know.
But having another major, to my career, would be huge.
A lot of people have kind of noticed that you haven't played as well this year as in some past years.
Yep.
Does that feel true to you, that you haven't been as good?
I mean, I think the putting is the big difference. It's when you said it right there. That hasn't been the standard that I've set out there. If you compare it to any other player, it could be a career year for some. So, it's just the standard that I'm held to, and I understand. And, I hold myself to an even higher standard. So if I'm not going out and winning every weekend, then it feels like a loss to myself.
How did your career change when you won this tournament for the first time?
Well, it was the Grand Slam year, so it was pretty big. It was 2015 and won all 5 majors that year, which it's funny to call it a Grand Slam when there's 5, but, it's disc golf. So, it was really special. It capped off, one of the greatest years in disc golf history, if not the greatest, So, it was huge to win my first one that way and in that moment and, that year and all that. So it'd be hard to replicate. But, to win a third, like I said, there's only Climo ahead of that. So.
All right.
There will still be debate about who is the better player. The only way that McBeth could be considered better than Climo is if he passes him in, total majors, total worlds, total USDGCs. But he's certainly got a shot tomorrow. And, just an incredibly consistent round from him today. He had glimpses of doing this both in rounds 1 and 2, but also made mistakes. And it just felt like, we literally talked about it on yesterday's show. It's like, if McBeth can find the consistency and not have that stretch of, back-to-back bogeys or doubles, he's going to put down a great round, and that's exactly what happened, and it was 4 strokes better than anybody else today.
I think what's most notable, and I told David in the chat, he's for those on the phone who aren't able to hear the video or the interview, I highly recommend going and listening to it. There are some things that he says in his words that I think are really valuable. So go back and listen after the show gets published on Spotify. But the one big thing that I take away from today is when you're confident about your putt, then it changes the way that you can play drives and upshots. And I think that's so true. It's so true. You don't feel like there's much pressure on upshots. You're okay saying, I'm going to play this 30 feet right because I know I can execute that 10 times out of 10, knowing then that I can make an easy putt. It changes the way that you look at a course when you know you can hit putts in the 30 to 40 foot range. Completely changes it. And I would pay more money than I paid to watch this coverage to know what that saying is.
What do you think it is? I was thinking about it. Like after I was like, what is it? Whatever this phrase is. McBeth.
It's one of it's one of two things. It's either something that is like
10 million.
It's a superstitious, right? He's either got superstition, right? Like I can't tell anybody or it doesn't work, or it's something that would be seen as pretentious or so he doesn't want to share that because it gives a bad image.
But it's so funny, right? Think about how all this fits together. He has a 2-word phrase that helps him go 4 for 9 from circle 2, only miss a single circle 1 putt, have crazy confidence to go out there and shoot 11 under. And it came from a 2-word phrase. Think about that, right? This is brain stuff. This is mental stuff. This is when you want to execute at a high level and you're an athlete, you don't want to think about all the things you have to do. You don't want to think about where your foot is. Am I extending my arm enough? I need to get, wrist snap. I need to go through all of these things, mechanical things, right? People who suck at putting often are trying to think about all this stuff. Am I getting enough hip push? Am I getting my back foot up off the ground enough on my push off? And when you think about all that, you can't be fluid and throw the putt. A 2-word phrase is the reason that Paul McBeth, that he cites as the reason that he was so good today. You can't explain this, right? This is weird, black magic stuff, but it's the thing that Paige Pierce didn't have today.
Yeah. Yep. Do you have a phrase, Charlie? I do. I've got one I say every time before I putt.
Will you tell us what it is, or are you going to keep tight lips?
I will share mine. So, okay, I've got the Friends hat on. We've talked about, I love Friends, right? It's my favorite TV show. Own the box sets. My mini has a silhouette of the Friends on the couch. Every one of their episodes says the one where or the one with, right? That's how they title it. So every time I step up to my putt, I go through my routine of practice, kind of the motion, and then I say the one where he makes the putt, and then I go.
So
and
good.
Putting is my strongest point. I say it every single time in my head before I putt, every single time.
That's amazing.
And it calms the nerves like nothing else. So
I don't have a phrase. I often just think about commit or something where it's just
sure.
Give it a chance. I often tell myself that.
Oh,
right? Because
okay.
Sometimes I tend to miss low, so it's I just need to get the disc up in the air, right? And when I do that, I usually am a pretty good putter. So I probably should have a more consistent routine and rhythm. I really don't do that, and that's probably a weakness. But it goes to show you that the same stuff that we do is the same stuff the pros do, right? Visualizing, giving themselves a little phrase, pretty wild stuff. And he was just electric today. And he when you're hot, you're hot. He goes off the post on 18 on a disc that was absolutely going to go out of bounds. And, he threw a pretty fast disc, and it was flying straight OB. It was not going to hook up unless he caught a miracle, and it just snaps the post. He catches the miracle, and it bounces beautifully into the middle of the fairway. And it's well, okay, it was one of those days for McBeth.
Well, here's what I found shocking, because this is from the post-round interview on the Disc Golf Network. He said, if I had gone out of bounds, I don't really care.
He did say that.
I'm playing for at least a 5. So if I just throw a high-speed driver and just go out of bounds as close to the basket as possible, I pitch up, I get my 5, and I'm pleased.
I mean, it shows you how hard 18 is. You
Yeah.
don't want to let it bite you hard. For McBeth to be cool with taking a bogey, like, it's a tough hole.
It is.
And, it's just like he was hitting huge putts in clutch spots. I mean, it's kind of spooky because this is a lot like Worlds. He was looking really strong. He'd been very consistent. He was hitting big putts. Then he did it all day. Are we going to see magic again?
Who's
There's
your
weird
lurker?
voodoo stuff, okay? Drew coming.
Maybe that's I agree with Austin here that I think Drew is the lurker. It can't be Calvin it can't be Chris. It's
Stop trying to
definitely
make
not
Calvin happen. Stop trying to make Calvin happen. It's over.
Sorry. It can't be Chris. Chris is too he's been in the lead. He's had a share of the lead. He's playing well. He's won this tournament before. I think Drew is your lurker.
We got bucket hat Drew out here dripping swagoo all over the fairways right now. Dude was throwing bombs today. It was awesome to watch. He was just absolutely unleashing some shots, and he's such an interesting character. I want to write a profile of him because it's just like, he's doing his own thing. He's got the Infinite Disc sponsorship instead of the whatever, normal sponsorship. He's always got a take. He has a crazy Twitter. Mm-hmm. If you follow him on Twitter, tattooed kind of bad boy image going on, and the dude can bomb. And yeah, I could see it. I could see it. And I'm telling you, there's weird voodoo energy here, right? Like someone pinned the Paige Pierce doll today and stole Hex energy over to McBeth. And then listen, we got an interview with Chris Dickerson. I'm gonna play it for you now, because think about how this round was similar to last year's final round in terms of the rain. And I asked Chris about that. So let's hear now from Chris Dickerson. My first question is, does today's round have weird parallels to you from last year, given the rain?
Similar, very similar. The rain wasn't as hard today, but it was constant up until actually last year. The rain stopped on hole 11, and I believe I took my umbrella down on hole 11
today.
Yes, so it was
That's
very,
weird.
very, very similar.
Do you feel like that's good vibes for tomorrow?
I hope so.
So, overall, still not a bad round. You still got a bunch of birdies, but you have the double bogey. Mm-hmm. You kind of have that little soft patch in the middle of the round. What was different from today compared to yesterday? I mean, is that mostly conditions?
It had a little bit to do with conditions. For a little while, it was raining hard enough to where it was just you weren't really attacking holes. It was like, if you were, it was a little on the safer side, and it wasn't because you were trying to be safe. It was just because, the rain makes you throw your shots a little bit different.
Yeah. How does, compared to last year, you're in the position to win. Obviously, you're still right there. You're one shot back in McBeth. Mm-hmm. How do you use last year to prepare you for tomorrow?
I really think the only way it could help me is, being there last year. I know how it felt. So, if I'm in that position again tomorrow, it shouldn't be a new feeling.
Do you feel like you're going to have to change things given the way McBeth played today and how sharp he was?
No, not really. I'm just going to go out there and play my game. Coming down the stretch, if we're close, then I'll have to see what he's doing. But up until that point, I just need to put myself in a position to be at the top at the end.
What makes you so good here at Winthrop?
I don't know. It may be the biggest thing out here, in my opinion, is staying in bounds in between the ropes. And you really need to decide which holes that you're going to play safer and which holes you need to attack. And so far, I've just been able to execute those holes that I've needed to attack. So, I mean, like I said, it's all about the ropes. Anything can happen.
Does the decision to attack or play safe change round to round?
It could, depending on going into the hole, no. But if, let's say, I'm a little to one side of the fairway instead of the other, and if that really changes the upshot, it could, yeah.
So, what do you tell yourself tonight? What do you do tonight to get ready for tomorrow?
Have a good dinner.
What are you going to eat?
Goodness, that's a good question. I don't know.
For me, too.
I don't know. Whatever my wife wants to eat.
Sounds good. All right, good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
So that's Chris Dickerson after today's round. He's one shot back of McBeth. And he got his ring. He got his ring from winning last year today in a little ceremony. It was on the broadcast. I think there was like a pause for him to say a few words, and he just he just smiled into the camera, and it was like, okay. But not a real chatty guy, but I think it's interesting, right, to hear him talk about disc golf. Like, I feel like it would be really good to sit down and talk strategy with him. Like, how do you break down a course? Like, let's go through every hole. Talk to me about, because he would have like insane game plan of how he's going to do every little thing.
I probably want Chris, like, for that reason. I think Chris is one of my top picks of who I want on the bag. If I got to pick a pro to caddy for me, like, I think Chris is a great choice there. Just in terms of being able to like you said, break down holes and do that. I'm gonna do it. I've got an over under for you right now, Charlie.
Let's go.
Okay. For the MPO, I feel like this is the time, because you have two guys, previous winners of this tournament, up there at the top, but you've been talking about the voodoo, right? I could phrase this as a traditional over under. It requires me to do a lot of weird wording, so I'm just not going to do it. So I'm just going to ask the question: will we have a first-time winner or a multi-time winner by the end of tomorrow's round?
Wow. Okay, hang on. Let me take a look at the leaderboard here.
Okay.
So Gibson, Hendel, Wysocki, Klein are your players in contention who haven't won it.
Yep.
McBeth, Dickerson, Sexton have won it. And that's kind of the list. So, I don't know. I feel like I got to say I take multi-time, not first time.
All right.
I just, look, I'm playing the odds here a little bit. McBeth and Dickerson are out in front. One of them is going to have a great round, right? It would be so sick if Drew Gibson won this tournament. I mean,
I'm cheering for him.
I think he's going to have a lot of fan support. Except from Canada.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be all in on Martin Hendel. How the hell is he on the lead card for the final round? Literally, remember yesterday, Terry Roethlisberger gets asked, and they're like, oh, it's going to be you, and Martin Hendel. And he was like, really? Really? That was so funny. He was hamming it up today, by the way. Like, every time the camera was on him, he was like looking over and doing finger guns and stuff.
He's so cool. I was watching it with my wife today, and so you've got Matty O, who's got that really high,
his pull through,
throw, really high. Well, Martin Hendel's is kind of low, so he goes in and throws, and my wife's like, "Who's that? Why does he throw like that?" I'm like, well, let me tell you a little bit about Martin Hendel that I learned last night. Good on it. What could you imagine? What if Martin Hendel won?
That'd be wild. It would flip the script. All the Americans keep going to win the Canadian championship.
Not this year. That'd be wild. There was a stat from Sue that she put in the chat that came from Statmando. In 49 tournaments, Paul has had a lead after 3 rounds.
In 4-round events.
In 4-round tourneys. Yep, in 4-round events, there are 49 times that Paul has had the lead after 3 rounds. He's won 41 of them.
Sounds right. And honestly, in a way, I'm surprised he's lost 8 times. That's like, I don't know, 15 to 20%. That seems high, given what you would think of for McBeth, where it's like, oh, he's in the lead, he's going to win for sure. But, I mean, what's I think most impressive is that he's been in the lead 49 times after 3 rounds at 4-round tournaments.
That's a disgusting amount. That's so many.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, literally, he could not remember how many majors he's won. He's like, I've lost track. I don't know. I would love to not know how many majors I've won. Oh, how many billions do I have in my bank account? I don't know. I don't remember. Okay, so let's talk about some other rounds today. Dickerson was okay. I mean, only 61% finding a green in regulation. That's not exactly what you're looking for. Gibson, when he found the green, was parked. I mean, like his shot on 9, super crazy high sky hyzer, like dodges the posts and just boom, sticks it. And when he didn't find the green, it kind of bit him more often than not, right? He had a string there. He went OB 5 times in a stretch of 4 holes. And that included 2 double bogeys and a bogey. And, if he cleans that up, he might be tied with McBeth or like in the lead. So, I mean, you got to feel good. If you're a Drew Gibson fan, you got to feel good about it tomorrow.
Do you want a fun stat? Remember Valerie Mandahanu stat that was pretty good? Drew Gibson, strokes gained tee to green, 19.56. Second place is Joel Freeman down in 6th at 11.87.
Wow.
Like, Drew is smoking the field in strokes gained tee to green. He also has the most OB strokes, though. You have to go down quite a ways to find people with more OB strokes than Drew.
He's playing to his strengths here. I mean, he literally only had 2 circle 2 putts today.
Mm-hmm.
One of them came on the hole he double bogeyed. The other came on 17, where, a lot of players are playing pretty safe over to the right-hand side of the island. I mean, he just was like, it's kind of feast or famine with him. You wouldn't expect that game plan to really work out here, but he's kind of done it so far. It would be the way he's playing the course. If he pulls it off, it's going to be insanely awesome. It's very unlikely, I think, because of that. I think it's hard to win with that style. But on the other hand, in the front 9, he went 7 under with no bogeys. It was crazy. So, really looking forward to tomorrow's round.
I actually think that feast or famine style is actually the reason why Drew Gibson has the best chance of beating Chris or Paul. Because I don't see Chris and Paul blowing up tomorrow. I just don't think it's likely. I looked at the weather. Precipitation is supposed to be down starting around noon. So they really should be in okay shape. I mean, look, Ricky could shoot an 11, 12 under.
Sure.
Easy.
Sure.
But Ricky's also 5 strokes back, which means you need to get Paul to shoot worse than a 5. And that's a bet that I wouldn't probably take right now. Like, if you wanted my over-under, I don't think I would take that. I think you're going to need a run at hot round of the weekend to catch him. And I think Drew's the best pick to do it.
Why not? You're not going to beat Paul McBeth by trying to play his game. You don't want to have to. If you're Drew Gibson, you do not want to have to go out there and hit like 6 circle 2 putts to win. Mm-hmm. No. Throw the shots. Go for it. If it doesn't work out,
and with
tip your cap.
And with scoring conditions being better tomorrow, I would think that favors Drew. In a little bit. I mean, obviously,
sure,
the adverse conditions maybe mean like that affects Paul, but I think it favors Drew's game. If you really want to go for it and push the pedal to the metal. So,
where did he get his scores yesterday? I want to look back at that because he went 7 under in the front 9 today. Yesterday, I mean, he really played great through the middle of the round. Remember, he had that stretch. Mm-hmm. He went birdie. He went ace, which was an eagle. Birdie, eagle. And then he's still got another 4 birdies on the back 9. So, like, if he puts it together, it's not out of the question to see him shoot a 12 or a 13 or 14. I mean, it's not impossible. Like, even not including the ace.
If Drew Gibson had played his 3 bogey holes today, the way he played them yesterday, he would have gained 5 strokes.
Wow.
No, sorry, that's not true. No. That is not true. He would have gained 7 strokes.
Wow.
Because he went 5 over par today, and he was 2 under par yesterday.
On those holes. Wow.
So change that. Imagine he plays it like he did yesterday, where he went eagle, par, and Drew Gibson shot a 13 under par.
Wow. There's a weird thing in the sky. I'm telling you, there's an energy here right now. I'm watching what this is. I think it's just an airplane, but it looked really weird for a second. All right. Well, we're going to leave it there.
Your deadbolt tonight, man.
When we do a round recap show, I don't expect it to be an hour long, but that's where we're at after this today. I just really quickly want to run down the leaderboard a little bit and just point out some other things that we've been seeing. Let me get back to round 3. It's been a nice run for Terry Roethlisberger. He went 1 over today, but seems like, be pretty happy out there. He made a couple big mistakes.
Yeah.
He had one where it was a pretty straightforward shot and he ended up in the OB, and it's been nice to see him pop up. Simon Lizotte still in the top 10 right now, hanging around. He's a stroke in front of his Discmania partner Eagle McMahon, who just can't quite seem to get it all going. He'll get a bunch of birdies and then take a triple bogey, which is what happened today. He went 4 under on the first 5 and then tripled 6. And it's just, he's playing good. He's probably going to finish inside the top 10, but it's hard to see him winning. Some young players looking really strong. Gannon Burr, Isaac Robinson playing really well. What happened to the young man, Evan Scott, after his really great...
He's down in 61st. He went 7 over par today.
Wheels came off.
And I think he was over par yesterday.
Yeah.
If I remember right. I went looking. I'll go down and double check real quick. Yeah, so he went 3 over yesterday and I think 7 over today.
Double G went 10 over today. Wow. He had a quad bogey on 17. Ooh.
Still not the bad.
Let's look this up. Who has been destroyed by 17 the hardest?
Ooh, that's an interesting.
Today there were 4 8s. It's hard to do worse than 8, I think, given the rules of the hole.
Yeah.
Anybody?
Austin Hannum had a 7 today.
There were 3 8s on day 1.
Any big names?
Austin Hannum. Oh, wait.
Well, so Austin.
No, sorry. You said that and put it in my brain. Nathan Queen on day 1.
Okay.
And then today,
Double G and Austin Hannum both had
Chandler Fry and Corey Ellis would probably be the biggest names. Nobody huge, but Double G took a 7. Austin Hannum took a 7. Adam Hammis really fell off the pace. Well, he took a 3 over today.
I think what's interesting here's the big thing to look at though. I don't really care what 17 looks like on days 2 and 3. The hole's easier.
Sure.
People will play it safer. Sure. It's not as big of a deal. If you look at 17 from round 1, in your top 10, Matty O had a 5, Simon Lizotte had a 6, Kyle Klein had a 5, and then a lot of pars. So drama on 17 is coming, folks. It always does, and I can't wait.
Can't wait.
I can't wait.
It's going to be awesome. James Conrad, he's my pick to really make a run today. No, he went 5 over. Tough day.
I thought I was disappointed in my Simon Lizotte only doing 4, but I'll take that. I guess
couldn't get off the tee. I mean, I think the rainy conditions. Some players just deal with that better than others.
Yeah. David, maybe this isn't for the recap show, but I think it's an interesting question. If Ricky gets 5th, does he lock up player of the year?
Gets 5th. I'm gonna marinate on that question, and we can talk about it next week. That's what I'm gonna say about that.
All right. I think it's a good question. We need a throw pink over under.
Okay. We already have a margin of victory one, right? From before in the preview show. Am I right about that?
No, we had Margin. Oh, we did. Yep. It was 3 strokes.
So I don't want to do that.
I think it was 3.5.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah. No. We already have that one set.
Are all of the players who are in the hunt? Almost every player in the hunt for winning this tournament has never won a pro major.
That's crazy.
Has Haley won one?
No.
She didn't win U.S. Women's, right? No.
She won a Pro Tour Championship.
And then she's
So
won.
not a
then she won
major,
some
but-
NTs and a Pro Tour event this year, but she's not won a major.
Yeah.
Missy Gann's never won a
I don't
major.
think so.
But Montana's never won a major. Owen Scott. This is.
Okay.
How do we get this into an over/under? That's the question.
I think I've
Okay,
got
go.
one. Missy Gannon and Haley King have both won Elite Series events. Valerie Mondahano, and I don't think Owen Scoggins has won an Elite Series event, right? And Macy Valadias has not as well, but Kona Panis has.
That's right.
So it's in a pretty similar vein to our USDGC. Does the winner, is it a first, is your first Elite Series event win the Throw Pink Women's Championship?
I keep talking about it like it's a major. It's not a major. It's going to be a major. It has to be a major. It feels like a major. I'm literally talking about it right now, even though I know it's not, as if it is. But
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it, it's a big win. We can consider it an Elite Series event, even if it's just an A tier. I think it certainly counts in my mind that way. It will be considered that way in end of year, player of the year voting, all that stuff.
Yes.
I think that it will be won by someone who has won a past Elite Series event.
A past Elite
Yes.
Series. So you're really picking, I think most likely Missy, Haley, or Kona, and maybe Sarah Hokum.
It would take a Herculean effort, but maybe.
It would take a Herculean effort, but not out. That means I'm taking.
I really want to take Valerie Mondahano. So I guess give me the other side.
I say that means I get
No,
Valerie.
I want to take the other side. I guess you
want the
really
other
get
side,
to pick
all right.
because I picked the other one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care. I set this line too. I mean, I'm the one
Fine.
kind of.
Then I'm going to take
we came
new
up with
winner.
it, so.
I'm going to take new winner. Put it in the books.
All right.
And that is
Okay.
going to do it for today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Tomorrow we'll have a subscriber bonus segment out for subscribers, so make sure to tune in for that. And you can become a subscriber.
It's going to be a
It
good
is.
one, folks.
You can become a subscriber at discgolf.ultiworld.com/subscribe. Thank you so much to everyone for tuning in here live. Thank you to our sponsors, Skybreed Discs, Pound Disc Golf, for supporting the show. And we will talk to you tomorrow after the finals.